brother in MPP, a cousin in Movement for Change, and so on and so forth. So we are interrelated in somewhere marriages, and we understand the political thing that we are running as a country. So Ghana is a beacon of hope for Africa, and I think Africans should look at how Ghana in particular we are running our democracy. No matter the situation, no matter how troubled a democracy is better than military rule. I read somewhere that they were preparing for a constitution transition or something, and the rebels are also trying to take over the country. And there's a town that was even vacated by the people. When they came back, the rebels have looted. So they are even showing sign of coming to loot, not coming to save the country, but they're also coming to take their pan of flesh, which I think is most unfortunate. And African Union, I don't know whether it's a social club that you go and wine, dine, and then just issue communique, and then they're off they go. You remember when Liberia was troubled? What did the ECOWAS do? May Anokweno's soul rest in peace. He was buried last week. I think he was the leader of ECOMAG then, even though people had some issues with the way he handled it. But at least, at the end of the day, Liberia now have a civilian government. They are at peace. So why is it that Africa, we cannot do something about this troubled region? Because Sudan is a strategic country. You know, most of our students are there studying. Because of their system of education is very good, be it secular education or Arabic, and they are giving people scholarships to go and learn in their country. If there is no stability, how can they continue? Even Dr. Iliman Liman, do you know one of the daughters was working there? I don't know which of them. She was working in Sudan. So I think Al-Bashir, Sudan. Yes. So I don't know. For me, my prayer is that Africa, that is why the unity of Africa is very, very important. Because we have leaders who don't really understand African unity. I quite remember during the Kufuor's administration when they came for some AU meeting at the conference center, and then the Ugandan president was asked about African uniting and having one maybe military force, and he said, as for him, he cannot go and tell his people that Africa is going to have one president. You see the understanding of a whole president, which means he doesn't even understand why Africa should. You can still have your president, but we are united as one body. So I think for me, Sudan should be helped if they need that help. African Union should be up and doing. It's not just a social club. You go and meet and issue a communique that you cannot even effect it. That's my take on that.
Thank you very much, Shadia Hamdatu. And let me remind viewers that we're streaming live on Facebook, facebook.com/Pan-African Television. So for the very many of you who would like to comment on today's conversation, you can do so by going on our Facebook page and sharing your thoughts with us on the show. I like the Kwenu angle that you brought in. You know how people claim that he masterminded the murder of Samuel Doe of Liberia. It's quite interesting how the whole thing happened. But these are some important historical lessons that we learn from some of these things, because I really don't understand why we have not been able to hold our own as Africans. And in trying to resolve, for instance, political transitional periods, or in trying to address some economic challenges that we are confronted with, we always resort to violence and war and things. I don't know why we cannot judge, or especially if we claim we are fighting in the interests of the people. You know, why must we kill the people that we want to protect? You know, Madam Rodlin, it's baffling, isn't it?
Good morning to all our cherished viewers. It's good to be here again on Tuesday morning with my former vice, KOD. Nice to see you once again in the chair.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sudan, Darfur. We have Ghanaian soldiers there, by the way. Peacekeeping.
Yes.
Yeah. So it is something that, or some place that we should be interested in.
Yes.
Darfur is a different story altogether. I mean, over 20 years and more, it's not seen peace. And if we are being told now that there's going to be some semblance of, let's say, a civilian rule, so to speak, so as to give the people of Darfur an opportunity to live in peace, it must be good news for us. But the one thing we have to understand now is that things have changed globally, and Sudan will have to, whether they like it or not, look for peace. Because here we are, war-torn Sudan, being cushioned mostly by US aid, which has gone down. And with the going down of the US aid, it means that Sudan will have to now start looking out for itself.
Yep.
So if you're going to have to fight famine, poverty, all the degeneration of infrastructure and all those things, and then your main sponsor has cut links, then you know that it's about time you change your strategy. So Sudan has got to be able to maintain a certain semblance of peace, of peaceful existence between the two factions, that's the rebels and the government soldiers. And in doing so, no one is asking for Sudan to go to bed with the rebels, but at least if you do not come to a consensus agreement, they are always going to be in the periphery, creating more problems. So I think that General Al-Fatah is doing the best that he can. The African Union should support. All other African countries should put in. But unfortunately, we are also going to find, as Africans, especially let's look at Ghana, how are we going to support Sudan? Because the UN that is there with our Ghanaian soldiers being part of, helping to bring peace to Western, to Darfur, are going to be also affected by this US aid cut and the UN cut. Because UN is cutting a lot of these, yes, a lot of aid for so many things. So it means that very soon we might have to recall our Ghanaian soldiers and all the other soldiers that are there. You know, and that for me is something that we should be asking. How are they going to cope? How is this man? Just 2024, they had about 424 million in aid to help them in their fight for this democratic rule. Now, if that money is not going to come, how are they going to manage? And if we all leave, because most likely people will have to leave.
You know the twist to the story, and you just, the point you just made about the aid is what has brought me to this conclusion. Maybe unfounded, but I think that, you know, we can discuss it. That somebody can argue that it is because they know that they always get aids, right? Which is why they continue to fuel these atrocities, so that the money can come in and then they can use it for whatever it is that they want to use it for. You know, sometimes they get support. The more war they fight, the more support they get.
Yeah, for war, that is it. Gun runners make money.
Absolutely.
So politicians always find ways and means of creating war. When we look at the US, for instance, any time that they are having turbulence, economic turbulence within their zone, what do? They create another war.
Yeah.
They buffer up another war. You understand? And then the populace then looks at the war and forgets about the problems at home. That is how it is. So Sudan will have to learn and fast that, look, we are going to be on our own, and we have to make sure that from now going on, we will look for funding for ourselves. We'll look for ways and means of making life better for ourselves and our citizenry. Otherwise, Sudan, the story is going to be a different ballgame.
Right.
Because, look, other world bodies, we have China, we have Russia, they will now start showing interest. And who knows which side they're going to be on.
Yeah.
You see, it depends, because if China decides to go and help Sudan and finds that, oh, America is in support of the governments, and then the rebels are there, what happens if China decides to support the rebels or Russia decides to support the rebels? So it's opening up for a whole new ball game. So I think that it's about time that the African Union should come together and put all the warring factions, all countries, from DR Congo, blah, 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 put them all on the table, and let's discuss about it. How do we stop this whole nonsense of fighting amongst ourselves because of natural resources that has been given to us by God? And yet we allow people to come in between us to create problems for us to fight, and they carry away all those natural resources. Darfur is having the same problem. You know, why should you even divide it into two? One having the oil and the other one not having, and then it's always problem. You understand? So I think that the African Union must, as a matter of urgency, have a roundtable conference about the effects of US aid being cut off. Because we are looking at US aid being cut off. It's going to affect HIV in South Africa. It's going to affect us in Ghana, because we also depend on it for some drugs, some form of health-linked issues. And then you look at Nigeria, they're also there. So let us sit now and talk about it.
The South African situation, I think if you were following events in South Africa and it's been unfolding, Julius Malema is alleged to have made some statements, which has sort of introduced some new
dimensions into it.
into the conversation. The conversation is about, well, the US aid angle is perfect, but what South Africa is saying is that, I mean, if you cut aid to us already, you know, you only give us about 17%, so it's nothing really to write home about. But I like the new geopolitical dimension that you introduced into the conversation. The other powerhouse interests, you know, which may eventually find itself within the warring countries if we are unable to address our teething challenges now, right? The fact of China, you know, possibly coming in, the fact of Russia possibly coming in. BRICS, let me say BRICS, because they want to have a stronghold on Ghana. Sorry, on Africa. On Africa.
Yes.
And so, yes, I can appreciate, but you have made a very important point again about resources. And how perhaps it is by reason of the resources that we have, which is why the West is always fueling, you know, the wars in Africa.
Not just in Africa.
The question, of course.
Everywhere in the world.
But the question then becomes, is it that we are so gullible to the point where we would let somebody determine our own fate and future?
Unfortunately, we've not had leaders that have been able to be themselves and think through and kind of like put the country and the people first before their own parochial interests. Because I believe that leadership has always thought about themselves, you know, their own interests before the country's interests. And I always use this. I said, look, we had a very peaceful election, you know, devoid of so many other things because of just that thing. If you create any problem, you will not be giving visas. Just a visa to America or a visa to a European country was enough to scare people to do the right thing. So, and then you ask yourself, if you don't travel, what's going to happen to you? There's so many millions of Ghanaians staying in this country who've never set foot even in Togo, but they have not died. So if our leaders, for once, will do the right thing, because if you come to think of it, we had a situation where just looking at our waters, the degradation of our environment, and a senior minister comes to say that we could not punish so and so because China is going to give us money. You see what I mean? If you're thinking along these lines, how can you lead people like us?
You mean Asha Wang?
Yeah, Asha Wang. You know, we couldn't punish her because we were looking for money. Meanwhile, what we have on the ground is more than the 3 billion. But what was going to happen to us? That degradation, the harm that it was going to cause to the Ghanaian people, we looked the other way. So KOD, I think that our leaders are our main problem. Yes, our leaders are our main problem, and it's about time we started bringing their minds back. And I think that this new Trump administration, even though what Trump is doing, I might not be in favor, but I think that's going to give us an opportunity to start being self-reliant, to look within, to start being self-reliant. And that for me is very good. So South Sudan...
But our solution still lied at the time and still lie in what was said by Sergeant Dr. Kwame Nkrumah in 1963.
Absolutely.
That if we were to go look for that document, in fact, the speech that he gave, and revisit some of the things that he said, I believe that
they
would
were
have
just
solved.
as relevant as they were,
today,
as they are today.
You know,
yes.
you know,
and if we could all put out our biases, you know, and say that, look, these are things that were said before and they can still work for us now. Let's go back, let's revisit. There's no harm in that.
These guys were smart, because the way they balkanized Africa. See Ghana, we are in between French speaking, so it is difficult to even do business with them, you know.
But for the fact that we intermarry and cultural, and cultural, you know.
Because even the, shall I say, the symbolic significance of African continental free trade area is not really experienced.
No, it's not.
You know, so there's a lot to do on the continent. Gabriela, good morning.
Good morning.
I trust you are well.
Your Excellency.
Yes.
Shadow Vice President.
Oh, it goes beautifully into his CV.
Long time no see.
Long time no see.
Welcome back from the
How's
campaigns.
how's the NDC in the central region? You keep fighting battles. Why?
Who is fighting battles?
You keep fighting battles in the central region. People keep bashing you on social media.
Me?
Why? Yes.
Oh, but it's for
a good cause.
So I don't mind at all.
But I think that sometimes people do not understand you. And sometimes you also do not explain away why you do the things you do and why you say the things you say. You leave them hanging and people just naturally conjecture.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that a lot of people live in their own biases, which is a good thing, because after all, we all can't have the same opinion. We are allowed to have different perspectives on issues. And if an issue borders on, first of all, the development of Central Region, or if the issue borders on how the NDC consolidates within these 4 years to make things easier for us in 2028, I don't think that my position on a matter. Let me just say this. You see, I'm not that kind of individual whose stock in trade is just to create confusion, and then I exalt in that kind of thing. That is not me at all. But where I think that we could have a better alternative, I'm free to state my opinion.
I see you are confused about what we are talking about. So there was, you know the matter. Okay, all right.
Because I, as Gabriela, by the grace of God, and from the family that I come from, I have seen the development paradigm of Central Region from the time of J.J. Rawlings. And I've come into contact with many regional ministers, okay, by virtue of what my father was doing in the region and how involved he was in local and regional politics in Central Region. And looking at the time and season where Central Region is, I, Gabriela, as an individual, nothing will excite me more. I met some senior comrades when His Excellency came to Central Region, and I told them nothing would excite me more than to see currently a regional minister in the caliber of the late Honorable at Austin.
Yeah, Austin, yeah.
Because this was somebody who spent his days, his nights, thinking Central Region. And if you see how Central Region has progressed after Austin, Central Region could have done far better than it is today. I'll hold the view that it is totally wrong. In fact, it's an abomination for anybody to mention the poorest regions in Ghana and dare reference Central Region. That then triggers the hell out of me. Because for a long time, I have seen people given that mandate and they don't come to the table with the vision of that kind of person. And you see, leadership is all about vision and how you're able to carry the vision through. In the last election, we've made a lot of promises in Central. That is how we won the vote. But if you are to go on the grounds, actually, and have conversations aside our biases, as I stated from the very beginning, of what is NDC and what is MPP, you will see a people who also want to progress beyond the tag of being amongst the poorest in the region. And that is what, for me, drives my passion for Central Region. There is so much to be done. The last administration sat down. Every day they'll come and give us plenty promises, and a lot of their actions was actually built on deception. Kwame, you see a road that has a few bumps and potholes. Next thing, they'll tell you that they are coming to do the road. They grade the whole road. They'll do some digging for culverts. Game over. The project is left. And then we're in a sorry state than when you actually touched the road. If you look at Kaswa to Winneba, that project should have been completed last year. You've traveled on it because you're also from Central Region, so you've traveled on it quite a bit, and you've seen the state of that road. Aside that road, there's a Winneba to Suedro road, which they also graded, telling the people that they were going to fix, and they never fixed. And a road that ordinarily you should get from Winneba to Suedro in 15 to 20 minutes, you are now doing it in 30, 45. And it has become a hub for armed robbers at night. Because of whether I like it or not, you have to slow down on that road. And you become bait for them. If you look at the road from Mankesim to Suedro, similar story. If you look at the road from Trefopraso to Upper Denchira East, similar story. So as I trek through the region, and I see that almost every single major highway that connects us to another region is in such bad state, how do you expect that I will feel about this region? When I talk to young people and all they want is jobs and also have the same aspirations as people, their peers. If I talk to people in the region and they tell me that they want their children to have good quality education, and you have a region that is hosting not less than 15 secondary schools, the very best in the country, but the indigenes of the region have to struggle to have their children enter the school, even those who come from the very communities where these schools are situated, because you are battling with a lot of people from all over Ghana who want their children to go to Wesley Girls, Infantipim at the Saddle or Gas School. Whenever the results are released, every parent first attack is Holy Child Wesley Girls. But the people in Central Region also want their children to go. Infantiman. Good. Ghana National, Agri, all of them. But you have people in Central Region who also want their children to attend these same schools. But because it's a national thing, everybody has to have access to it. So the people who are there, who host it, who ensure that these facilities are given the kind of reverence they have, the kids can't get access to these schools. So it's 30% enough for. By the time they finish all student association, you see whether you have 30% or you have less. You see, so the issues in the region, in fact, it is not. We should be talking about Sudan.
No.
You still want me to go on this tangent?
From Sudan, but
I have something to say about Sudan.
No, but the point you are raising.
We're taking all your time for
the point you are raising are very important points.
Yeah, that's why we are
quiet and I think that it is not only peculiar to your region.
No, yeah, it's not.
I mean, as I also traversed across the country, there are so many places that I visited where I was like, wow, is this part of Ghana?
This is part of Ghana.
You know, the road to Asankregwa. Terrible.
And yet, when you heard this like year of roads over 5 years.
So,
plantain.
but I don't want for us to live in the past. We can only draw some important lessons. The reason why Ghanaians went to the polls and gave the NDC the opportunity to come and serve is because of the things that we were introduced to. You know, the lies that in your estimation that we're introduced to, the non-fulfillment of promises, etc., right? So yes, it is important, but I just want to quickly ask before we move on that is it the reason why you do not support the name that has been mentioned for Central Region to be the regional minister for Central Region? Because you see, you've made
this issue.
No. Because it must anchor or something.
The current regional minister, he's been sworn in.
He's been sworn in.
So he's
okay.
a regional minister. The current regional minister is my colleague, regional executive. Okay.
What's his name?
Honorable Eko Opinion. He's a former member of
professor?
No.
Okay.
The professor is the.
But the professor should have been made the regional minister.
No, in actual fact, in Central Agenda wasn't really what happened.
Okay.
He's my colleague.
Executive.
He's a current vice chairman.
Oh, okay.
He's a regional executive, and I've had the opportunity to work with him on many things. I differ on only the issue about his nomination. That is where my difference.
Yeah, but there must be a justification.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. That you have to deal with people's.
Gabriela, sorry to interrupt. Please.
No.
Now the minister has been
Hold on.
confirmed.
No.
Let's
We work together because
I will not leave it. Let me tell you why I will not leave it.
And the end is, and I just have to make sure that I support
you
you
would agree with me, Madam Rodley. You agree? She listed plethora of issues in the region, and I'm one person who believes that we do not have to put square pegs in round holes.
Of course.
Yes. So if somebody is going to the region, and the person in your estimation cannot perform for the benefit of the region, why must the person be there? That's my.
They'll give him a team to support him to achieve the mandate.
Listen, leadership is important. You can get the support. Why? President Kufuor had support, but we sit here today and we say President Kufuor didn't perform well. So leadership is very important. A lot of the things that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama intends to do, yes, maybe his vision, he would have people that he has to work with. If the people perform well, if the people are good, and he himself doesn't take advice, he has failed.
You see, Kwame, I said we should leave it there because of the number of things she has mentioned.
Yeah.
So even based on that, maybe that's why she has her reservation. That is why I'm saying we should leave it
That's
there.
a fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, once the DC and the MCs are in place, a lot of the job has to be done by the DCs and the MCs. So we just have to make sure that
left to be alone, the regional ministerial portfolio, I believe is moribund. I think that we should just delete it from our system.
Which one?
The regional ministers.
The regional minister. I thought that we should have removed them.
Yeah, we should remove them, and then work with the DCs.
You see, where decentralization is very, very effective.
Yeah.
We can talk about.
Yeah.
But this one is still hanging up there.
Hadi, I think we should expand this conversation. I like it. I like where it's going.
Yes, we can do it.
I like where it's going because oftentimes we do not really get into the conversation about the workings of, the ministers and then the DCs, and people don't really understand it. They say the only thing now, this guy's a regional minister. He has supervisory role in the region, right? But they forget that there are some other people that he works with, which people must also work to ensure that the region actually survives. Or the things that they intend to do are implemented.
is very, very important.
Yes. So it's important, which is why we've been asking for the MMDCs and DCs to be elected.
Absolutely.
So I mean,
can't you see the way the MPs will work their ass, excuse my language, to retain their seats? So if there is election of MMDCs, I think we'll see some competition, even development in the regions, in the districts.
Let me ask Naive on this. What is the role of a regional minister juxtaposing same with the MMDCs? I just want to understand, what is it? What are they supposed to do?
He's a coordinating anchor of all the assemblies.
Who?
The regional
minister
yes.
is the coordinating
anchor
okay.
of all the.
So what if you say coordinating anchor? What does it mean?
So his job is to, let's say we've come into government with a manifesto and pledges, right? So they are going to have to develop action points of what exactly it is we are supposed to do. Every district is peculiar in its own way. It's very unique. You come to the areas where it's mostly coastal, your initiatives have to bear in mind poverty alleviation, gender issues, social issues, but there's also elements of coastal issues that have to also be addressed. Whereas when you go to the northern part or central region, it is purely agrarian. So you need to look at infrastructure-wise, as in roads. You need to look at maybe agro processing to support what the farmers are doing there. You look at if it's cocoa or if it is rice or if it is palm, what initiatives have you put? And all these initiatives are in the manifesto of what we intend to do. So those action points have to now be given to the assemblies to work, and there's a monitoring team that ensures that they're deliverables. So the regional minister's responsibility is to ensure that all the KPIs that are identified for us to achieve those things in those districts are being adhered to.
Okay.
And that the results are being proven on the ground.
Okay. Based on my understanding of the Great Transformational Plan.
Your Great Transformational Plan.
Yes, we presented it to Mahama.
Your Great Transformational Plan is not what is governing Ghana. It is the resetting manifesto
that
is
the same
governing
thing.
Ghana.
You people, you stole a lot from the Great Transformational Plan. But that's a subject matter for...
Was it when you presented to them or when
Before cry. And that is why we said
you presented after you
let
left
me
the
tell you.
election.
No, hold on. Before you be so small, and then when you guys will say, I'm coming.
No, you sold it to them.
Listen, when they stole small, and then we said, Charlie, that thing, if we don't present, they will steal everything, and then they will give us credit. So we are just giving it. But
one there.
But okay, anyway, let's proceed.
Let's proceed.
Oral can retrieve $20.49 billion with 36 cases. Let me start with you, Madam Rodiliana. We know when Oral started. No. It's Operation Recover or Loot. You know, so. They started, I think, when President Mahama won. Yes, when I think the transition period, that's when ORA was formed. Tasked ostensibly to identify and receive information from persons who have information about persons who have stolen, or looted from the state. According to them, they've received about 2,000 cases, and they categorize them. Some from emails, some from the toll-free calls that were received. What they have done is that they've segregated them, the different cases. So ones that relate to, let's say, land, ones that relate to contracts, ones that relate to embezzlement, etc., etc., etc. Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa, in his presentation to President Mahama, highlighted a few of them, but was quick to add that he didn't want to divulge all the information. So he wanted to wait for the president to have a look at it, and then they can conclusively deal with all the other attending matters. But from where you sit, Madam Rodiliana, I mean, oftentimes the political trump card that most political parties use for the purposes of campaigning and for the purposes of, winning the minds of Ghanaians, right, have always centered around corruption. We've always trumpeted corruption. When we are in opposition, the conversation is different. When we get into power, the conversation is also different. Yes, this is a great step. But from where you sit, do you think that the oral team would have enough evidence? Because there's a difference between allegation and evidence in support of that allegation. So do you think, even though, yes, it's good, we can recover 20.49, but do you think that we have enough evidence to be able to retrieve all these monies that Honorable Okujeto is alleging that we will be able to get in the event that we are able to retrieve them?
Kwame.
Yes, madam.
Oral. Very laudable. In fact, I think if you're looking at the policies that are coming out, it's one of those small units that might be able to help out.
Right.
If only we are able to retrieve this amount of money,
right,
which I have my doubts. The only thing that I have against oral, which I don't know because I don't know their point of reference, is that, you see, we have two major political parties in this country,
right,
the MPP and the NDC. John Mahama has, His Excellency John Mahama has just 4 years to leave a legacy. it would have pleased me if he had said, I will start off, reference points, 2012 to 2024. That would cover 2 governments, one of the NDC, one of the MPP. Open it out so that anybody, if anybody has anything against someone, they said what? Crime is not one that has a date on it. So if anyone has any, because you see, the reason why I'm saying this is because between 2012 and 2016, if you were to turn on the TV stations or the radio stations, whatever was coming out was based on corruption. The NDC is corrupt. That's why we are voting them. We want them out. You understand? That was the cry then. Then you come to 2017, 2018. Oh, the MPP is terribly corrupt. We want them out. In order not to let people feel that we are choosing, we are being selective, I would have wished that it would have opened up from 2012 till date. The looting of state lands or people buying state lands, I don't think it's only NPP people who bought state lands. NDC people too. Some of them might have bought state lands. You understand? Maybe some CPP people bought state lands. All I'm trying to say is, for it not to look like we are hitting on a particular regime, when our own regime also had the same thing. And my belief is this scratch my back, I scratch yours syndrome, where it's going to be the same thing all over again. We are going to go out there. We are human. We're going to be talking to people. They're going to bring documents. So is it okay if I bought my land in 2014, which was a state land, and I paid less than what is being asked for now? Is it okay because it's 2014, but it's bad because it's 2025? I don't know if
I follow you.
You understand?
Yes, I'm following the argument. Yeah.
So, if we're going to look at it that way, there's going to be a lot of arguments. Because if I know someone who also bought in 2014 less than what the going price was then, because I talk to people and I hear people saying the same thing. Now, say I'm not the only one. This person also bought. You understand? In 2014, in 2015, in 2016, people were given that opportunity. So why should it be now? So it's a good thing, but I wish it would cover from 2014 till now. So that we can look at the books and see who and who bought and how much did they buy it for. So that people don't have this feeling of, oh, they are just trying to catch NDC people, MPP people. It should be across board. Then I think that Ghanaians, a lot of Ghanaians will buy into the whole thing. But if we only look at it from the point of view of the MPP only, I don't think we will be doing a fair thing. It won't be just.
Let me ask this question before I move to Madam Hajia. Would you fault persons who say that MPP had every opportunity between 2016 to prosecute the persons that they alleged were involved in corruption, because they had every opportunity to so do, you know, and all these matters have been in the courts for over 8 years, and still we have not had any prosecutions. We have not been able to convict any of these persons who are alleged to be involved in such
you see, you cannot look at it in that context.
Yeah.
Between 2016 and 2024, no one probably came out with any of those about somebody buying at a reduced price. Probably there was no need at that time. We saw certain people being prosecuted within the NDC who had been prosecuted by the MPP. You understand? So I'm looking at this situation. We saw Abuga Pele being prosecuted by the Mahama administration.
Yes.
And then it went into the MPP and they were jailed. Do you understand what I'm saying? Which means that Mahama was already dealing with corrupt elements within his party. Are you getting me? So I am saying we cannot but agree that there is a possibility that the reason why some people decided to also go and buy government land at a reduced rate, there must have been some other incidents. Do you get me? So I don't see why my government has come and I'm asked to pay $500,000 for a plot of land in East Legon, when I know a fellow member of an NDC who probably bought from cantonments and paid less than the 500,000 you're asking me to pay. Do you get what I'm saying?
Indeed.
So much so that if we open out the book, who are those who have bought state lands? How much did they pay? How much did they pay? Did they also pay the going rate at that time? Then we look at those who also bought it now. All of them are wrong. I'm not in favor of state lands or state property being sold to any individual. I am not in favor of it. And I wish that all those who bought state lands, state property, we could take it back.
When did this phenomenon start? When did it start? Because I do not understand why, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ajia, because I do recall that Osaje Foto Kwame Nkrumah, no, I'll come to Gabriela, I'll go to Gabriela next, but Osaje Foto Kwame Nkrumah, in designing the forward march of this country, was very intelligent to acknowledge that because of how eventually Ghana will grow, we should have specific lands,
like land banks,
you know,
yes,
for the state.
For the state.
Addressing, like for instance, the Nungwa farms, the animal husbandry.
Yes, I feel so bad.
All those lands have been.
I feel so bad to see it's now concrete. Why should you do that?
Is it that we lack foresight, or we are just wicked?
Look, we were here, but for vigilance, let me just get. But for vigilance, the Achimota Forest.
Yes.
When did it start?
Yeah.
When did it start?
Yeah.
Because I know people who were, you know, who were into Achimota Forest before 2016.
Right. Right.
So you cannot tell me, but it was truncated. We stopped it.
But
Are you
that's
getting
why
me? So I am for Mahama to just look.
That is why I ask this
right
fundamental question: is it that we lack foresight, or we are just wicked?
I think we're just wicked. It's not a question of we don't have any vision. We are just wicked.
And
because
greedy and selfish.
And greedy and selfish. Because look, if you can, if you are I keep asking. Look, other governments, East Legon was developed by some governments.
Yes.
Abelenkwe
Yes.
was developed by some governments.
Tema.
Jomulu, you understand, Tema? Why is it that people in authority would not go outside these places that have been developed to develop? To develop. If you look at ordinary Ghanaians going all the way to Kaswa,
yes,
to go and buy waterlogged land, poor people are going there to go and buy those lands to develop for themselves. Then the rich, those who are politically exposed, those who have the money, are rather taking the serviced plots.
That is why your roads are not fixed.
You understand?
Because
so
they want to live in
places where the roads are done, the water is there, electricity is there, and you are leading the people. We are paying for. You are not solving any problem, and that is the reason why I'm saying that let us cut the thing from the head.
I like Atuforce, and I know where
Let's
he
cut
lives.
it from the head.
He lives in my area. At least he is not within the central business district.
We will not then be just focusing on MPP, but we will also be focusing on the previous government. You know, to let them understand that even today, if you are in power today and you take any government land, we will come after you.
Agreed. However, maybe my point of departure would be that we've experienced that under MPP Kufuor's regime, we've experienced that under Mills Mahama's regime. Now we can start from now, from MPP going forward.
No.
Because you see the Obeche Bilante matter, you know, and I do
what
know.
happened?
It went to court.
It's still, the structure is still there.
Yeah, but
you understand?
But what I'm saying is that, respectfully, what I'm saying is that we've experienced that under Kufuor's former President Kufuor's regime, Mills Mohammed's regime. Maybe somebody is now awake and saying that, listen, we cannot continue.
Yes,
like
I like
this.
that, and I'm saying.
So we can start from now. If we are able to conduct ourselves, Yeah, from 2017 to 2024.
2017?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So what happens?
That
So
if
what
you
happens
look at,
if
no,
somebody?
hold on, respectfully. From 1990, Kufuor was in power in 1996, right?
No, 2000.
2000, sorry. 2000 to 2008.
Yeah.
Yes, so 2000 to 2008. And then Professor Mills came. Mills Mahama, 2009, right, to 2012, right? Oh, my mathematics is terrible. And then 2012, hold on, 2012 to 2016. So 8 years under President Kufuor, 8 years Mills Mahama, gone with the wind. So let's assume that that one is gone with the wind. So now, if we want to progress as a country, I mean, this is my candid opinion.
Maybe you got the land that time. That's
yeah, no, I don't have land there. But I'm saying that 8 years, you don't have a balance in trees. They can never go home by. So what I'm saying is that 8 years under Kufuor, people got state lands. 8 years under Mills Mahama, people got state lands. No, I'm saying, I'm saying that, and then the conversation. You see, there's a difference. Around that time, there was nobody who came forward to make such allegations, to want to say that people have bought state lands and we want to retrieve those state lands. But you know, Ukujeta Blackwell was using but it became very loud recently when he was using his office to go after persons who, in his estimation, had acquired state properties. And that's why I'm saying that perhaps the setting up of the oral committee flows from the stream of the things that he started in the previous administration. That is the Kufuor administration. So I'm saying that, okay, no problem. 8 years under President Kufuor, 8 years under Mills Mahama, all of you have chopped, no problem. Now, from 2017 to 2024, right, under President Kufuor, all those persons, all those persons who procured lands illegally or bought state lands must be made to return those lands to the state. Then from 2028 to 2020 whatever, that narrative continues. I don't know if I'm making sense.
You're making a point.
A point, yeah.
But the issue is this.
Yeah.
Assuming that Haja knows I bought land in 2014 for $200,000, 200,000 cedis at the airports or cantonments. And today, Haja also went and got land at maybe the same 200,000 Ghana. And you are asking Haja to come and pay 500,000. So if Haja knows I bought mine for 200, what stops Haja from saying that, why should I pay for 500 and not this person? So the litigation is going to be what will stall the collection of the monies that we're talking about.
Right.
And then we also look at a situation where people bought not one, but acres of government land. An acre is 4 plots. And somebody has just developed 1 plot. The person bought it probably in the previous government, 4 plots, has developed 1 plot, has got 3 plots walled. Do we collect that one back? Should we let that person take it? Or we should go back into the books?
These are questions, these are matters that we can discuss going forward.
Exactly, and that's why I'm saying that the way for me, it's a fantastic idea, the oral, to look for this, but I wish that for fairness, and for the fact that we are all fighting for Mother Ghana, and for the fact that whatever they did, other people did, affected us. You understand? We could go back.
Yeah.
You understand?
Right.
And say that, in fact, if they don't, if no one has any case against anyone who bought in between 2012 and 2016, who cares? You understand? But don't let it make it look like we are just concentrating on MPP. They just, you know.
Yeah, but I agree.
When Kufuor was doing his reconciliation, didn't he go all the way back?
No, but the point is that even the sufferers of this oral committee will be the current NDC administration, because all these gentlemen who have now been given juicy appointments,
they might want to.
Yeah, they might want to buy. Yes. They can't buy. That's why I'm saying that all of them have been caught by the web.
Predecessors, they will stop.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. Like that.
Punish them.
Yes, so
you understand?
The narrative has started from.
Do I have the floor?
Should I give you the floor, or you want me to still go to Gabriela and come back to you?
Gabriela, do you want to come?
I want to come. I have to repurpose the conversation.
Okay.
But you think the conversation is not purposeful?
It's too aligned to one side.
No, it's not aligned. It is just because first of all, hold on.
Not.
First of all, Gabriela, the reason why. Hold on.
There's a lot more oral than
No.
land.
We know no.
And we bash
No.
politicians
Hold
on the land.
on.
Okay, so
Hold on.
but the land is
Let's
where I am.
Let's frame.
We did not say that oral is limited to lands.
No.
Madam Bolivariana, hold on. Respectfully.
Was on land.
Respectfully.
Mine
Because
is
she's
on land
interested in land.
It's the land that I'm interested in.
But if you jump from here to Hajia, then you've narrowed the conversation. You see?
No.
Because
How do you know? How do you know what I was saying?
Yesterday I read that Gihok,
Yes.
the managing director of Gihok, had given the Aboso glass factory to some investors, and they had gone and dismantled the whole thing. I felt sad. I saw it I felt really bad. You understand?
Madonna,
because I was
problem.
asking myself, what right has he got? Oral could have been, this could be part of Oral. How much did you sell that factory for?
Did you need to even sell
Did
it
you need to
begin
sell
with?
it?
Yeah.
In any case, and then I'm reading that it was not supposed to have been dismantled because they had a conversation with the traditional leaders, and what they said was the scraps that were in there, but not machinery that had been brought. You understand? This is an oral issue for us to go in there and find out what really happened. Are you getting me? So there are so many other issues concerning other infrastructure that have gone.
So you see, Gabriela,
that have gone.
we have
But for me,
didn't narrow the
my
conversation.
main concern.
Do you still want Hadia to come?
My main
or
concern
you want to come?
was the land.
Hadia, Gabi, let's hear from you.
Okay. So on oral.
Yes, oral.
You know, let me take it from Auntie Roda's angle, starting with the issues of land. The bigger conversation around the sale of government lands should rather start from the planned redevelopment of Greater Accra. Because as you mentioned, when you mentioned Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah, what I expected you to say was that Osagyefo, in his wisdom, and based on, at least for once, the foreigners who came to colonize us also had some wisdom, that government, civil servants, local administrators at that time had their residencies with large tracts of land around them, because in that time the colonial mindset was that you have a bungalow and you have gardens and a lot of landscape. So the built environment was created along that kind of philosophy or ideology. However, and at that time our population, the whole of Ghana, was under 7 million people. Today, when Greater Accra alone is pushing close to 4 million people, it tells you that land is now scarce. So, years ago, they came up with this concept of redeveloping Accra, so that instead of having large tracts of land with just one single bungalow, an acre of land, 2 acres of land, 3 acres of land, with just one bungalow, let's redemarcate. We can have about 16 townhouses in that small space. So over time, you observed that we had a lot more of these gated communities being built in Greater Accra, especially around the main central areas, cantonments, Laboni, Osu, where you had a lot of these civil servants living. With time, people realized that, it turns out that the value of these lands keep going up, because now the properties being developed on these lands are prime properties. So a land that ordinarily would have gone for even, let's say, 100,000, when the property is on, the land and the building now goes for $1 million, when it costs even less to put up that property. So that concept alone became another enterprise of, quote, political entrepreneurs plus actual entrepreneurs. If you go into the documentation of who have bought these lands over the years, the politicians make up just some 5-10%. The ones who are actually taking these lands are businessmen. Now, the point Ora makes, which is a very important point, that we should have had that conversation years ago, and it's good that we're having that conversation today, because at some point, as Reverend Loretta will say, this nonsense must stop. It's what is the value of the land that is being given out, even if it's given out to a businessman. At what cost is the land valued? And that's the most important thing. So that the country gets value for money for these lands. After all, they are going to be used for prime properties. How many people do you know went and bought, took over Laboni lands and went and built chateaus on it? Everybody is building high-rise apartments and townhouses and doing whole communities and selling those things over $1 million and co in a country like Ghana. That's even one conversation I don't understand. Why anybody will buy a house for $1 million in Ghana when you can buy it for less in somewhere in America, and it has more value. But anyway, we've overpriced everything in this country. So, as I said, at some point, that nonsense has to stop. And it's not just prime lands here in Accra. In Central Region, that area we call Third Ridge, the road that goes to Ridge Royal. You see there's a filling station at that junction now. A big spread of filling station owned by a local oil magnate. That whole stretch of lands was government lands. That under NPP administration has also been sold out. All that area you've seen that they are building warehouses, so they are going to build a shopping mall or God knows what they are building there. All those were government lands. But the thing, unfortunately, had become so cancerous that it appears that there was a deliberate ploy to just let go of so much government lands that were not valued properly. And so it's instead of rather the country benefiting from the sale of these lands, it rather has become an avenue for people to exploit those lands. And it's not just, as I mentioned, it's not just a Greater Accra problem. It is now actually a Ghana problem. And at some point, the nonsense must stop. If we say we are taking the conversation back into time past, we can take the conversation back into time past. But as the law allows, that if somebody bought land 10, 15 years ago, and they've built on it, and you have issues with the sale of the land, can you go back and make a claim for new rates on that land when you have washed your hands for a 90-year lease? That will go into all kinds of legal matters. That is probably going to waste government's time. So where do we start? And we start from now, when we say this whole thing about Accra redevelopment should be looked at again, and those lands revalued properly. Additionally,
the Accra redevelopment that was supposed to happen was intended to understand the urbanization and the restructuring of Greater Accra region, so that we could have maybe schools here, hospital facilities there. I'm sorry?
School parks are gone.
Yes, school parks, etc. That was. But you see, again, it comes back to what I was saying, that it's either we are wicked, greedy, or selfish. Because in the minds of most of the people who were spearheading that, they were going to do the redemarcation and then take a larger chunk or larger tract of the lands for themselves. That was what marred the whole process. You know, that people knew the essence of the exercise they were going to undertake, and they knew the benefit that they were going to get after the whole exercise. And that's why we are here, Gabriela. Because you see, as we speak today, and there was this issue about, and I have a friend who works at the Lands Commission, and he tells me he can actually pinpoint all the state lands. He tells me that that's what the politicians do when they come. They have friends at Lands Commission. Then the friends at Lands Commission will identify the state lands, and then the people at Lands Commission. In fact, you see, that is why I'm saying that oral should not be limited. Oral should not be limited to just the politicians, because there are people at Lands Commission who are masterminders.
And that is why oral is important, so that beyond having a conversation about land that was sold, this docket, together with so many other cases, including PDS, including the container logistics park, including so many issues that we have raised on corruption for the last 8 years and even beyond, are now all in those dockets and now given to the Attorney General. The Attorney General now has a responsibility of having investigators and prosecutors sit down case by case by case, go deep into the merits of the allegations, have investigators do proper investigations for them to prepare a solid case and go for prosecution.
My fear, my genuine fear, is that we may reduce this to political football. We may reduce it to political football. I'm just, because you see, oftentimes we think that the politicians are the ones who are heavily involved in these things. You lift the veil or you pierce the veil and you notice that the technocrats are the ones who are actually making a lot of money from some of these things. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, hold on, the reason why I'm saying this is because from the onset, the conversation has been about government appointments. In fact, you have some sympathizers and followers of this administration who have started mentioning names of people that they want to see behind bars, right? And so, irrespective of the gains that the oral team may chalk, if it does not have some of these persons prosecuted, they will still not, get the applause that they deserve. Now, I'm saying this in relation to, I'm saying this in relation to, and I'm ending on this and you come in. I'm saying this in relation to, for instance, the cathedral. All right? And already the cathedral has had some public interest. Yes. So most of the cases that we are hearing are, very political cases. And I'm saying that we should move beyond. I don't know the complaints, that over 2,000 complaints that they had.
The question is, whatever it is that they've presented to His Excellency, that has been handed over to the Attorney General, are they assumptions or they are based on facts? If you take the cathedral issue, is it a fact that our $5 million is in the hands of one Sullivan in America, who Ablakwa went to do FBI, KGB operations on? Remember that is famous when he had a cup in the US. That he actually traveled all the way there to go and find out where exactly the offices was, and it turned out it was a warehouse. And the gentleman himself came and walked past him without even knowing that that was him. Is it a statement of fact? Yes. On PDS, is it a statement of fact that up to date, ECG can't account for over $2 billion that was paid as bills to PDS, and there's also been no reconciliation to the account of ECG? It is a fact. So the onus now lies on the Attorney General to do further investigations and prosecute. The sword of justice will fall whichever way it is supposed to fall. If there are people that, because their names have come up in almost everything, are wanted, the investigations will draw them out. You understand?
All right.
And I don't think that the current president as he is today, listening to him, observing him, he's somebody who is willing to just let things go because he's a former president that has come to power. This time he's come, the agenda he came with is to reset the country.
I think I can see that.
And he's living by that.
I see the aggression. So far, I see the aggression.
And he's living by that.
Sorry? Yeah, I see the aggression. I see, look, people will also say, but Akufo-Addo was also talking tough and things like that. But you can see Mohammed's countenance has changed.
Yeah,
to be honest, I feel that...
It's not Muhammad.
Tell me, who is it?
It's those who are going to be working.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. Haji Hamdatu,
Muhammad.
let me come to you on this oral matter.
Yes, that oral can retrieve about 20.9 billion.
49.
Is it cedis or dollars?
Dollars, US dollars.
In Ghana, we are under this NDC administration, where every rules will be fixed. Our lightning system, because if you are driving,
So
that is what I'm saying.
No, I pray that you retrieve.
That's what I'm saying.
If it's
When KOD was saying, talking, I said something and he asked me and I explained what I said. Isn't it?
Yes.
It is our prayer and hope that this money can be retrieved. Because if you're able to retrieve even half or quarter of this money, Ghana will develop. How much money are we chasing the IMF for? Is it not 3 billion? And they're giving us like tots. So if we have this within the country, we have no business going to IMF for.
Yeah, there's money in Ghana, pal.
Oh, there is.
It is Ikaso.
We have money.
You see,
in
but the issue about whether land or not land, we are looking at other places. I sitting here. Gabriela mentioned her name, Gabriela Tete. I, Haja Hamdatu, Ibrahim Hussein.
Yeah.
I'm for any move that will bring our money back into our coffers.
praise Jesus.
Any stolen money, any money that was taken from our coffers, wrong, in a wrong way, I pray. You see, Gabriela mentioned that maybe if somebody bought a land maybe 10 years ago and he has built on it, maybe there will be long litigation. But I think we can look into the books. If I bought a land, let's say 2,000, and that time the value of that land was 5,000, how do we justify that? So I think Auntie Rhoda was saying from 2012, we should take it to 1996. Because we know people who also bought factories. We have to find out where is the receipt of payment of those factories.
Yep.
If we want to be fair in this country, if we want to be fair and just, certain organizations or factories that were built by Nkrumah, over 400 factories.
Some people bought them for one Ghana cedi.
They should even show us the receipt of payment and where did they put that money they purchased those. You see, in this country.
You mean the Insaon factory that was bought for one Ghana cedi?
Oh, it was 1 Ghana cedi.
I had one cedi.
So can you imagine?
One cedi for it.
It was a handshake.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
But you see, I agree with you. The divestiture implementation that happened.
Where is the receipt of payments?
That one I agree with you.
You see, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, you are the best president to really reset Ghana. Because why? You have only 4 years. Damn the consequences. If people in his party will not be pulling him there, if you do that, we are not going to win the next election. If you do that, we are not going to win the next election. You know it happens in political parties. I think this country needs to move forward.
Yeah.
How can a chief executive of an establishment will sell Abuasi glass factory?
That investors have come.
You see, we have strategic factories in this country. If we revive them, there will not any demonstration or youth being, because I am from a community that our youth are wasting. They are able-bodied. Gabriela wants some people to go and misbehave, then she'll come to my community and get them. I'm just giving an example. I'm just giving an example. You understand? Because you are in power now. The power people, that's what they do. So I think this oral thing, we shouldn't just be looking at former MPP people. We have business people in this country who have bought lands.
A lot.
A lot of them. A lot of them.
One person alone, when they put his portfolio for you, you know, you see, say, Charlie,
You understand?
Ghana is gone.
So why were they able to get those lands and I couldn't get, you couldn't get? You understand? And you, Kwame, are you not a Ghanaian?
I am.
Can't you also buy those lands? But why is it that they're not giving it to us? I watched the minister for chieftaincy, Rashid Pepo.
Employment.
Oh, sorry,
Jobs.
And he made mention, because he was a board member of is it Lands Commission, he was even offered a land. You could see that maybe I just giving him the land. He didn't even go to process. He didn't even go for it. It's not only land in Accra. Bolgatanga, Tamale everywhere. They are giving it to people free.
State land.
Go to Tamale Ridge.
They are just taking
Go to Tamale Ridge. People in Accra here who have no business in Accra, Tamale, have been dashed lands.
You mean the airport lands in Tamale?
People just look and take.
You understand? So
Why?
please, we shouldn't just limit it to the, because we also know some people who are not even qualified to get lands in Tamale, Bolgatanga. They are in Accra here or Kumasi, but they have it. How did they get it?
You take and sell.
How did they get it? All right, fine. Because if really we are going to get this money, hey, easy. Just get half and see what will happen in this country. You understand? What is good, let's all support it. But what is bad, let's all condemn it.
And this is good.
And this is good.
And this is good. And
we all support it.
the oral, and that is what we support it. But it shouldn't be limited to some. You shouldn't target it to a group of people.
Right.
Because if you do that, it will amount to witch hunting. Okay. And then I'm praying that even there's prosecution, please let me finish. Let me finish. No, you got your time. Let me finish.
Let her finish.
Let it not be like it will be in the court some years and then they will be cleared.
Public tribunals.
Okay.
You understand?
We've seen thank you. Point well delivered.
But you know, Claudia, let me just say that
yeah.
I think that the next thing that we have to do is to get a lifestyle audit for all public officers.
All
public servants, yes.
There must be a lifestyle audit.
There must be a lifestyle audit.
MPs, ministers, all of them are in cantonment.
Yes.
And why is it that they can't get? We cannot get.
But if you say lifestyle audit, what do you mean?
What I'm talking about,
I love
somebody's
the good things
working.
of life.
Somebody, if you can afford it, if your money, the money you are earning at the end of the month, if it can support your lifestyle, then you are fine. But I don't see how you are sitting somewhere. Suddenly you come to work, you are being paid 5,000, 10,000, and the next thing I know, you've built a whole block of flats. How did you come by it?
Right, that makes a lot of sense.
How did you come by that? So let's find out.
You know, in this country, we glorify criminals.
I'll be reading the WhatsApp messages, but I don't have the WhatsApp phone. Producers, bring me the WhatsApp phone.
You have a situation whereby a young boy of 22 having big mansions and cars, and if he comes and throws money, people are applauding. They will even ask the source of
hey, Ghana, if you go and ask the source of somebody's wealth, they say you are jealous.
Yes.
You are envious.
Yes.
They will tell you.
Even people who wanted to leave this country, we're not ready to say.
That is true.
But that's the, you see, listen,
that is true.
even in the 2024 election,
people didn't want to be asked questions.
People didn't want to ask questions.
About what?
People didn't want to ask questions. They were just happy and supporting. But I was actually scandalized.
Questions about people's
I was scandalized, Gabby. And I was telling somebody that, about the people that we even admit to come and contest to become presidents in this country.
We couldn't ask them about
what I'm saying?
finances.
Because I was scared, Ajay, and I'll tell you why I was scared. I was scared because I've made this point before, that we will sit in this country, armed robbers, somebody will go and rob somebody.
And
we will not know.
President or come and be MP.
Rob somebody, go and steal and become a president.
A drug baron will become
president in this country.
The discovery of the national security at the wager.
Yes.
We don't know
who the person is.
Yes. And we don't know what they've been using
to do.
Exactly. Who knows whether they've even financed
political parties
and some MPs and what have you.
So the lifestyle. So I agree with the lifestyle.
Let me tell you.
See,
the last thing I want to
make a point. Made a point.
You see, the issue is that we should know that today, maybe my road, if there is a health post there and we don't have access through, and somebody has embezzled the money that was supposed to be used, we should remember that Judgment Day, because I believe in Judgment Day, the day of reckoning, you answer for it. Because at least you should know how many properties that do one person want to own in why.
That one is there, but sometimes let us call for the judgment once we are alive.
No, but if we speak this way, it might prick some people's conscience.
People don't with their conscience.
People don't have conscience.
But you see, listen, this lifestyle audit, I think that we are not expanding on it more. I think we should expand on it because you see, you live in a country where somebody will finish university. The person has not even worked or even done their national service. All of a sudden, the person is the wealthiest person in Accra, driving Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Rolls Royces and things like that. And you don't think that we should ask where the person got the money from. We don't think that we should do that. And that's why...
It's only in Africa that...
Yeah, and that is why, yes, we don't do lifestyle. And that is why a lot of the young people think they can do anything and get away with it.
You are a political something.
You get the point. They think they can do... Look, in Ghana now, today, if you like, go to the universities and ask the young guys what they will do after school. They will tell you they want to be politicians.
Politics.
Because it's the easiest way to make money.
It's the easiest way to make money.
I mean, you are in school with
politics.
somebody, you are perhaps even more intelligent than the person. The person, by virtue of his associating with some political party, is given some CEO position. And then all of a sudden, the person is buying houses, buying expensive vehicles. You understand? Has some money in his account.
Where did the person get the money from?
Where did the person get the money from?
Money.
So that is why we must do the lifestyle audit.
We must.
It is very, very important. I think we have to impress upon President Mahama.
Yes, the code of conduct for...
The code of conduct, yes. The code of conduct. You see, Gabby, when you are given an opportunity to serve, and I keep telling all my friends, all these young boys, Yaira Koku, Osman Ayariga, Digitamaklu, and all the young boys who have been men, really, who have been given the opportunity to serve, that look, first of all, your duty is to the good people of this country. You are a servant of the people. But unfortunately, to begin with, when they give them the opportunity to, I'm not saying these guys, but most of the young people, when they give them the opportunity, they think that this is also their time to become big men. You know, so...
Even their working
changes. They have everything. When you call them, they might not even pick your call. You know, all of a sudden, they feel too big. You get the point. All of these things must be checked in Rwanda, and that is why sometimes I make reference to Rwanda, and people think that I'm just overdoing it.
Me, I've been there, so I've
seen. Who born dog? A minister of state who born dog for somebody to call you and you refusing to pick your call? You will be fired the next day. If somebody tweets at you, and that's why I like what Sam George is doing on Twitter. You know, he's engaging with the people, because you are not the sole repository of knowledge. By virtue of the fact that you've been given an opportunity to serve, does not mean that you are the best human being in Ghana. There are people who have better ideas than you. Those people who tweet at you, wanting to have a meeting with you, and you are ignoring them. Because of what? You are not a god. You are not a boss. You are a servant.
Permanent too.
I don't know if I'm making sense. So all these things must be looked at. This code of conduct thing, how would you even get to President Mahama to report a minister to him that this minister is not performing well? Do you understand what I'm saying? So if he is designing a code of conduct for his appointees, he must equally have an office that will directly receive complaints of the conduct.
That's the Chief of Staff's office.
But you have Chief of Staff.
Oh.
Yes.
Send him a message.
Send him a message. No, I'm just trying to make a point.
We must.
So, no, Gabby, if we are serious as a nation...
He's busy forming government.
Respectfully.
I'm not defending him.
Respectfully. I'm not saying this because I have a problem. I don't have a problem with Chief Julius.
That is what's happening.
But I'm saying that if President Mahama is saying that he wants to design a code of conduct... Hold on. He wants to design a code of conduct for his appointees, Adia. The presumption is that he wants them to act better for and in the interest of the good people of Ghana. And I'm saying that then he must have a specific office like the oral that will receive complaints about the conduct of his appointees. Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe the presidential staffers can do that.
Adia, you just want to bring fight.
No, the whole thing.
All set for... okay, so let's do this. I think we have 30 minutes. We can do 10. All set for Council of State elections. No, that one, it is important. So let's do it. But I just wanted us to touch briefly on this Manasseh thing, and then we'll come back to the Council of State question.
This one,
Chief Clearing Agent title, now Mahama, and I think it's in relation to the discontinuation of the cases. Yeah. As a lawyer, I'm on record to have indicated that some of the cases I believe should not have been discontinued. Many of them, I believe, did not have any merit whatsoever, and we did not have to even waste the country's resources on those matters. And so, yes, Manasseh Zuri, saying that Mahama is not a chief clearing agent, I don't think that is grounded in any logic. Sometimes he just wants attention. So I'll leave it at that. So let's now go to Council of State.
Yes.
Yes,
actually,
of
the
course.
Council of State, you know, looking at the composition of the Council of State, where I am coming from, maybe if you look at the gender space,
Okay.
if you look at for me, what is happening in Parliament when it comes to the vetting committee, I think if women were to be...
Hajia, somebody has a message for you. It says, please tell Hajia the powerful in society knows judgment day after death, so they keep misbehaving. Judgment must be now.
Oh, okay. You know, some people haven't even received their judgment too. Because, you know, some people will steal, and then there will be some litigation between maybe husband and wife. The person will go to court and the wife will take half. Well, it's part of judgment day. It's part of judgment. You understand? Yes.
Now the law is sweet. The law favors the woman.
Do you think so?
In respect of divorce, but it moved. It progressed from no benefit at all to the women if they had not contributed. Then it came to substantial contribution. Now it has come to 50-50.
50-50. And what did Trump say? Then you didn't come with anything, so if you are mentioning.
Yeah.
When I was coming, I was reading about the Council of State.
Very well.
And the article that from the Council of State, that's the article 89 to 93 of the Ghana Constitution.
Okay.
And it has told
us... Article what?
89
okay.
to 93.
93.
And then the composition of the Council of State.
Okay.
But what I was looking at was the former CJ, that's the former Chief Justice. Since we have former Chief Justice, about 3 or 4 now, so I was asking myself, we have former Chief Justice about 3. 2 are female and 1 is a male. But if you look at the previous Council of State, I think 1 has already been saved. Okay. So I think it should be the other lady who did not, because I'm looking at the gender. Okay. Because if you look at the Chief of Defense Staff, we don't have a woman who has been a former Chief of Defense Staff before. Right. And IGP. And the IGP too, the former ones, I don't see any female. It was only an acting...
Hey, you are right too.
Yes, that is what I'm...
Have you had a female IGP in Ghana before?
No. So when I was... It was Elizabeth, was acting. And then she was sent outside as an ambassador. You see, so she was not an IGP. So I was looking at them, President of the National House of Chiefs. We don't have a woman there. So now if you come down to the regional representation, I don't see most women even contesting the 16 regions. So let's say, okay, 1. Okay, so let's say if the 1 wins, we only have 1 out of 16. But the president has the power to appoint 11. That's where I have my take.
Right.
Already President Mahama has promised 30% across, so I'm expecting him. If he's watching us this morning, we are pleading. We have capable women in the academia, whatever, that he can look and appoint so that there will be a balance. I'm sure this is 4 years. If he has more women advising him, Ghana will be a better place to live. I'm not saying the men are not good, I didn't say that. But I think the 11, if the president can give even 6 or 7, because already the 16 or 15 will be taken over by men.
Right.
So why should we be in a country where women are in the majority and then the minority always have the upper hand? So for me, the Council of State election is very, very important. And I'll tie it to the shortlisting of the MMDCs that the NDC are doing. Gabriela, this is where your voices must be heard, because we are hearing things that are not very palatable, that some women are being discriminated against. I think our working group have reported on our platform. They mentioned, is it Greater Accra and then Central Regional? And then we have even regions, we have regions where women are not even considered at all. So I will still speak to the president. He should have his ears on the ground. As you rightly indicated, that apart from the appointment of his ministers, he should have a group of people or an office that will receive complaints.
Yes.
Before the final appointment of the MMDCs, he should be in a firm grip of information flow from the regions. They can shortlist the 3 people, but he can decide that he will not appoint them. But he will appoint somebody that can man the district. And we'll call upon the president to also look at the balance.
Right.
The gender balance. You see, when you talk about gender, people think it's just the women are just shouting women, women, women. For crying out loud, we have gone around the continent, the world, to sign onto protocols and convention that we are going to give 30%. So we should walk our talk.
Right.
We shouldn't be just go and be paying lip service to international communities that, oh, we'll do this, we'll do that. But internally, we are not able to domesticate whatever we go to sign on to. So I think the president has the greatest opportunity. He chose a woman as his running mate. So now we have a vice president, first female vice president of the country. And I'll call on my mother, Nana Jilupuku Ajima, should also have a say in the appointment that are going to come, especially the MMDCs.
Right.
And when it comes to the Council of State, it's an advisory body. She should also talk to the president. The 11, at least you should tell him,
All
at
right.
least give us 6 or 7.
All right, thank you.
All of us will applaud the
Thank you very
president.
much. Let me read a few messages. I think my viewers have started complaining. Greetings to all and sundry. Oral is a great way to recover stolen funds and state assets, but JDM must go beyond oral and do a lifestyle audit of all officials who come into politics with empty pockets but wallow in unexplained wealth after few days in office. Oral must also fish out those who share money openly, please. Those who share money openly on political platforms. And that's the only way we can make corruption unattractive. Why are the minorities scared of oral when they've nothing to hide? JDM must crack the whip without fear or favor. Long live oral, long live Ghana, still a citizen and not a spectator. KOD, good forenoon, sir. Trust you and Sandri are doing well. This is directly to you, sir. Proactiveness, I believe, is breathing the word. Have you arrived and is relaxed? Very second for... Hey, Charlie, this one, I don't get it. Respectfully, if you can resend it to me so that I... Alhaji Hamza in Pig Farm says, good morning to you, my good brother. We should be truthful to ourselves in this country and speak the truth for once. Whoever is against the oral is only trying to run away from accountability. My brother, Ghana is broke and we need monies to invest in capital projects in this country. In my opinion, no one should be jailed. Government should make sure that all monies are collected from government officials. But I salute Honorable Blackwell and his team for the good work. You know, oral is akin to Dodge in the United States, the one that is headed by Elon Musk. Yeah, they've identified a lot of fraud and all of that. They've stopped all. Hey, Charlie, it's serious. People. Oh yeah, they were making money. Good morning, Honorable Kwame. We are in this country where one businessman was buying a whole lagoon. In Gibo from Techiman sent in this one. Unexplained wealth has led to people becoming MPs and, you know, now wanting to be presidents and all of that. Anyway, good morning to you, my dear panelists. All that you are saying, the constitutional review is in place now. Let's add all these things. Mr. Tieta from Kumasi sent in this one. KOD, Sraj has asked government to prosecute the cathedral matter. Stephen from Kwabenya sent in this one. The inquisitorial and prosecutorial powers of Attorney General must not be used capriciously for witch hunting purposes of scoring cheap political capital. The current Attorney General and Minister of Justice must distinguish himself and ensure that the available evidence before him are sent to court of competent jurisdiction for proper adjudication and prosecution of nation wreckers who have plunged this country into economic doldrum. Operation Recover All Loot is a great concept and must be used well to recover all monies from the looting brigade of Eswal Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration, written by Ernest Evelof Kwashi from Dansuman. Thank you, Ernest. Good morning to you, KOD. The oral is a good way to go and must start from somewhere. But the way we want it to go will rather dampen the spirit of government to do little. Let us not go beyond 2017 to date and build on it from Kwesi Kwesi Tapa Abotuase Biakoye district. Good morning to you, Pan-African TV. While the nation is poised to recover all the loot, the agenda will not be complete without the application of Section 117 of the Companies Act 992, which deals with restraining fraudulent persons from managing companies, whether such persons have been convicted or not, but culpable of offences involving fraud or dishonesty. Seth Abloso from Accra sent in this one. Thank you, Seth. Abbas Omogobo, in offense to President Mahama, should constitute a team of very honest lawyers, judges, to prosecute these corrupt cases. The MPP as a party should be banned forever. Oh, Massa, why? We are in a multi-party democratic dispensation. I think this oral will reduce the rate of corruption and looting by both NDC and MPP. So every Ghanaian should support this. From Ablade Ifiekuma Zongo in Takrade. Hey, Ablade, how are you doing? It's been long. Good morning to you, Kwame, and kudos to President Mahama for his appointment and efforts in informing commissions and committees to address some pressing issues, example, education. I humbly appeal to him that he should announce the merger of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission and the Emoluments Commission, as he promised during the campaign, to address the disparities in salaries and conditions of service of the public servants and politicians. He should please do well to work on that also immediately to avoid any labor agitation and strikes. If possible, salaries and allowances of politicians, CEOs be reduced to be in line with that of public servants. All right, let me come to you, Gabriela Tete, on this Council of State matter.
Very important elections. 544 people vote. In Central Region, it's only 44 who are voting. Very, very small electoral college, but very powerful. I think, as I mentioned earlier, we have one female who's contesting.
Right.
I don't know how strong she is, because the people there contesting, some of them are of no small metal. There's one who's a chief, who's a co-partner in Empire Cement. You know, the cement manufacturing at Weja Block Factory area. There's one, he's contesting. There's another guy who's into mining and media, also in Central, very young guy, Ejiako. Then
no, I like the young guys are really pulling up this year. I'm so happy. No, because we need young people to also
always
engineer.
My thinking is like an experienced old people.
Because the world has changed, to be honest.
Yeah. And look at the MPs that
young boys.
The Labour Party, very
young.
Yeah. 21, 22.
Yeah.
And amongst all those who are contesting, I think in Central Region, these two names I mentioned are actually the...
Which one? The young man?
Ejiako and the chief.
Ejiako will win.
You know him personally?
I don't know him personally, but I know he'll win. I want the young. You see, that is why
it's not all
Alan picks a young man, so I have to. Just as Ajay is advocating for women, I'm also advocating for the youth.
But not all the youth.
No, but Ajay, I'm sure is successful. Is a successful businessman, is he not?
Yes, he's into media.
Media, and he's also a media man. I have to support my own.
He owns a radio station. He owns a newspaper.
Ajay, you have won. Ajay, you have won. You have won. When you win, come and say thank you. I prophesy.
He has the support of both NDC and MPP.
I said he has won.
So
he has won. I don't
it's
know.
How you relate to people.
Oh, he has won. You have won.
But the other one too is also very.
I said Ejeku has won.
They said he has like 20 businesses.
Ejeku has won. You see, yes. Ejeku is a young.
But they want the best to win for Central Region.
Ejeku is young.
Hold on.
Ejeku is young. You see, just as we were saying, Central Region needs young, energetic, endearing, passionate people to help the region. You know, this whole. So I don't have anything against the octogenarians and the septuagenarians, but you see, they've lived, and the time they were living is different from now. Now, everything has changed. Everything has changed. Young people are ruling the world. Elon Musk now is working with 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds. I don't know if you read his tweets.
And they haven't seen the world, so they are giving him all sorts of things that are not working.
Some
of it is backfiring.
No. They will fail and they will learn.
They haven't lived the world.
All those people who you claim have experience, they also failed when they started, and they learned from it.
But
The world has changed.
Why human beings are concerned, you don't need experiments.
Oh no.
No.
But everything you do, Madam Ayana,
is changing.
Oh no. I mean, I'm okay for young people, but not those without
Enough experience.
wow, Nigeria.
I'm telling you.
Okay. Is it the USAID withdrawal?
Oh no.
Kanu, they are working. Charlie, right now.
As for the let me say on Council of State before I end up in digressing into other matters. So very important election. We're hoping that the best represents the region. And as Hajia said, there's also opportunity to also appoint some people. So we hope that the females again will be supported and elevated in this regard. Our campaign 2024 bothered a lot on practicalizing affirmative action. So there's still a lot that we have to do. But I think so far His Excellency has done well.
All right.
As at the last count, I was told that now 48% of appointees are females. So
48.
Yes.
Or 26.
No, I heard 48. Or the 48 for those of the presidency. Maybe. Felix said
some
48.
particular places.
Felix said 48%. So
yeah, they've passed the threshold. I think they've passed the threshold there.
On ministerial.
No, on general.
Okay.
I think President Akufo-Addo had, is it 20% or 28%? And this guy...
no, you see, whether we like it or not, we have some good,
but to be fair,
good ladies in the
to be honest,
that needs to be... You see, when I didn't hear, it's
honest,
because Gabriela is sitting here.
Yeah.
I was sad.
Yes, even me.
I'm telling you.
When I mentioned you the second time, I was worried.
He still has a lot. I'm telling you, he still has a lot coming. There's still some more positions coming.
Anti-Roda.
Still a lot.
I remember when we started the Pan-African TV's morning show. There was a particular gentleman who used to come on my show, Ibrahim.
Ajay,
yeah.
He used to come on my morning show.
I haven't seen him for a long time.
And we were
That's
extremely,
MPP.
yes, MPP, we were extremely close. So he used to appear on the show, blah, blah, blah.
we started from TV Africa.
Yes, well, you know. And then one time he came on the show. So myself, Bernard Mona, Honorable A.B. Fuseni, we started pushing his agenda on the morning show. Lo and behold, this guy got an appointment to become, I think he was a secretary to the executive secretary, Santibedi too. When the guy got the appointment, he stopped coming to Pan-African television. And now I've seen that he started going on platforms again. You know, I'm just saying this to say that sometimes when we say these things on air, it has effect. You know, that the president, even sometimes, you know, it's not deliberate. Maybe he's even forgotten that there's some Gabriela Tete somewhere. But when we mention the name on the show, then somebody will remind him that, hey, Mr. President, it appears you are forgetting somebody.
You see, let's give women who are assertive, who are speaking their mind, the opportunity to serve. That is it.
There are many ways of serving.
Exactly.
I'm already serving as a communication officer for Central Region.
Yes.
Up until 2026 anyway.
Yes, so nobody is saying that, but there are other people who are also directors of communications for
Hers is coming, no?
Alhamdulillah.
Hers is coming.
There's no one particular person. He was quiet. As soon as they mentioned his name,
Madam
he started
Ayana.
coming.
Yes.
Madam Ayana, please.
Let's be realistic. Let me tell you, some people, some appointees of some of the NDC officers, some of them lied low because they didn't hear their name. As soon as their names were mentioned last week, they are everywhere now. So please, let's be challenged. After all, that is also our person.
Pan-Africa has helped.
That is also our person, Anti-Roda. You understand? Everybody wants somebody that they can walk to.
Does the person appear on Pan-Africa?
I will always be your person, whether I'm appointed or not.
That appointment comes with certain distance.
Council of State.
For me, Council of State, you know, it's not communicated well enough for a lot of people to be interested.
You two coordinated before coming on
because
this show.
you're supposed to be voting for people.
Yeah.
But I think that there's not much noise made about it.
Hey, this year the young boys.
This year
The young boys are really happy that even there's one here.
The young people are hyping it, but let's look at the functions of the Council of State.
Yes.
You know,
Who's that?
Who is that?
So there's a young man here.
Okay. And I think even in the Upper East region, in the Upper East region, we have another young person also vying and all sorts of things. But all I'm saying is that it's a good thing young people are coming, but let's make sure that we are getting the right young people. We're looking for someone who's going to go in there and be advising the president on certain pertinent issues. We're just not looking for people who will just go and add up to the numbers. And therefore, we need people who are qualified within their own ranks, people that will be able to give good advice, and not people who are just going to sit there and add up to numbers, and at the end of the day, we get nothing. Because for so many years, our Council of State has just been there as a body, but I don't know how often we hear of the kinds of things that they do. So for me, I don't know, but if I had my own way, there will be no Council of State.
All right. And that is what the Great Transformational Plan says, that we should rather create a second chamber
of something and have the chiefs
and have the core mandate.
Exactly, because
she's from the Movement for Change.
Oh, but it's not about
I was an alliance member, but before then, National Interest Movement went along the same line.
Exactly.
That is how come I became.
Good morning. May I know if Gabriela Tete is physically present in the studio right now? Kwame from Who sent in why he wants to send assassins after her. Why do you want to make this? No, she's on Zoom. Kelly, one day, monkey went and devastated a farmer's maize farm. Farmer went and reported monkey to the chief. The chief asked the farmer to go and call the monkey for him. The farmer went to the monkey's house and said, the chief says, I should come and call you. And the monkey said, who devastated your farm? If you are not a thief, why are you afraid of Ora? I don't understand what you are talking about.
If you're not a thief, why are you afraid of oral? It means if you have nothing to hide, why should you be bothered?
Good morning, Keodi. You see, when you went around, these beautiful ladies and Gabriela stopped coming. Now that you are back, they are here. This means they wished for you to lose.
No.
It's matter. Everybody was busy.
But Auntie Rhoda comes every week. You were here last week, right?
Yes, I
At least I met her 2 weeks ago.
What the guy says is that you people were praying for us to lose so that I'll come and host the show. As far as I remember, the oral coverage area is not only targeting NPP regime, but stretches back and even includes today. Oral is open to receive infos from all regimes, so I don't see the point. Abdulaziz from Accra sent him this one.
That is the right thing to.
You sent a message and you deleted it. Okay. Komlavi Benghazi. Why are you forwarding someone else's message to me? No one is preventing the MPP from presenting NDC members as people who have looted. All right. Thank you. But I think that the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, in the spirit of accountability and in the spirit of ensuring that his appointees adhere to the strict compliance of the code of conduct, must have another office beyond the chief of staff dedicated to receiving complaints about his appointees, so that we can also make sure that we put the feet of those appointees to the fire. Yeah, keep them in check to the fire of responsibility. Otherwise, Charlie, it's much ado about nothing.
Our former General Secretary is watching us, Mr. Setabloso. Good morning.
Oh, Setabloso.
Ebo is also watching.
Ebo Bachman.
Where is Ebo?
Ebo Bachman.
Where is Ebo?
My brother.
We should ask Movement for Change. Where he is.
Okay.
Uncle Ebo.
Thank you very much. Ajia Hamdatu, thank you very much for your time. Madam Rule Ayana, thank you. Madam Gabriela Tete, thank you very much for your time this morning. Thank you for watching today's edition of Good Morning Africa. My name is Kwame Usudan, so I'll see you tomorrow. Hey, which one?